In this tutorial, we'll be going over setting up the levels in preparation to use them in our Project 1. This tutorial is referencing the wall section on the back of the handout that was given to you in class. To see the levels that have been created, I'm going to go to the south elevation view and take a look at what we have here. These horizontal lines that you're seeing here on the screen are the levels that have been predefined for this template. Now we can take some of these levels, rename them, use them if they're already named what we want them to be, and then adjust also what elevation they're actually at through editing these level lines. First thing is I'm going to come over here and look at the first floor level, and referencing that wall section, I do have a first floor level for my Project 1. I also have a foundation level, but that foundation level is not at -1'3", it's at -1'2" and 1/8. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that level line and then select the text of 1'3" and edit that to be 1'2" and 1/8. And that will go ahead and adjust that. Also look at these other existing levels here. I have a basement level, and this house for our Project 1 doesn't have a basement. But I can use that level to turn it into the grade level. So I'll go ahead and select that and select the text right here and change the text to read grade level. Whenever I change the name of a level, there's also a view that exists of that level over in my project browser. And it's going to come up with this question and ask you, would you like to rename that corresponding view? And for the most part, you always want to say yes here. That's not always the case, but most of the time it is. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and it will change the name of that level in the project browser as well. The grade level is at -2'2" and 1/8, which is about a foot below the foundation level. So I could change it by either selecting this text and editing that dimension, or I can use a temporary dimension right here and select on that and just change that to a 1 foot distance, and it will automatically update this here. I'm going to work with that top of footing elevation now and select it, and doing a little math in my head, if I pick that temporary dimension, I know that distance is 2'6" below the grade level. And then I'll select the bottom of footing elevation, and I know that that's 1 foot below the top of footing. So that went ahead and cleaned up this area here with the proper elevations. Next thing I'm going to look at is the second floor. I don't have a second floor to this home, it's a single story. But I can use the second floor to create the top plate level. So just like I did with the grade level, I'll go ahead and change the second floor to top plate, and I'll rename that. It'll ask me, do you want to rename the view, and I'll say yes, and then I will set the top plate elevation to 8 feet 1 1/8. The roof elevation, we'll go ahead and just leave it where it's at for the time being. Now if you look at these elevation lines, these level lines here, there are some adjustment features that you can use. I'm going to drag these in a little closer to my building here, my house, so that they're not way out here in space. And to do that dragging, I just pick on one and grab the little handle and just drag it, and they'll all move in alignment at the same time. The other thing that I may do, just because it's a reflection of you as a professional, is where these are overlapping each other, these names of levels are overlapping each other, you may want to come in and add an elbow to that level. You do that by selecting it and looking for the little tilted Z. It's called the Add Elbow, and it will allow you to put a jog in that you can then adjust and line things up so that they're not on top of each other, and things will appear a lot more uniform and nice and neat. Do the last one there to that foundation. Put these elbows into alignment with the others. And that looks a lot more professional than what was there at the beginning. This concludes the video on laying out the levels for Project 1. You need to make sure that you have that done before we go on at this point.